The introduction of the Krait Mk II by Falcon de Lacy last year left a number of commanders asking the question, has the Python finally lost its grip on the market? On the face of it, the new Krait appears to fill a similar role to the Python. It fits on a medium pad, it has similar hardpoint configurations but with certain enhancements such as having the capability to carry ship launched fighters. Now that the Krait Mk II and its sibling the Krait Phantom have been available for a few months, we can truly make an assessment. Looking back at the Python. The Python we know and love has been around for a long time. The basic space frame we fly today has a clear and direct lineage back to the shipyards of Watt and Prittney Space Construct W&P in the year 2700. Named after the non-venomous snake genus Pythonidae, the Python holds the distinction of being the ship in longest continuous production in history, although it could be argued that today's Python has little in common with the ship that launched back in 2700. The Python has lumbered on during these years, unsexy but undoubtedly good at its job, forming the backbone of many a trade route. As the last century began, the design was suffering from a lack of development, and it was showing. By the 3250s it was considered slow, poorly defended and obsolete, but W&P doggedly continued to manufacture the vessel, relying on the goodwill of its corporate clients. The author of the popular ship buyer's guide of that era, the larger than life Big Bob is a Catty, lamented in the 3250 edition of his guide, "I used to wonder if I would ever own a Python. Now I wonder if I can ever sell it." The Python was on the verge of oblivion when, due to a complex set of corporate actions and mergers, Falcon de Lacy gained the design information and the rights to build the ship. Rather than abandon the design, de Lacy decided that it still held promise. It was significantly refreshed by adding the standard modular internal layout system used today and marketed as the Jack of all trades. Gone were the 2 rather inflexible gun mounts and 4 missile mounts, replaced by 3 standard Class 3 and 2 Class 2 hardpoints, upon which the owner could fit any standard hardpoint module. Out were the old Exlon 76NN drives, to be replaced with modern Class 6 thrusters and a Class 5 frameshift drive. The refreshed Python was a vast improvement without fundamentally changing what made the Python what it was. Thanks to being able to do nearly any job while still being able to land at outposts, it has proven popular, especially amongst mission runners. The Krait Lightspeeder. The Krait we can buy today is a new design. However, it's worth considering its predecessor, as the modern Krait Mk II was clearly designed with the older ship in mind. The Krait has always been a Falcon de Lacy design, the first iteration taking flight in 3027. Once again the snake tradition was followed, the Krait deriving its name from the common name of the genus Bungarus, a family of venomous snakes from Southeast Asia on Earth. The Krait Lightspeeder, as it was referred to in marketing material at the time, was designed as a single crewed fighter. Unlike the Python, the Krait Lightspeeder did not endure. It was not originally designed to be hyperspace capable, and as such began to fall by the wayside as commercial markets started to demand ships that could jump between stars. The ship's adherents persevered, and eventually Kraits were retrofitted with hyperspace capabilities, but by the 3250s these ships had been long out of production. The remaining ships were the rare favourites of explorers, pirates and rebels, with several taking part in the revolutionary battles in the Lave system in 3265, where their limitations were fatally exposed. Today, the only Krait Lightspeeders still in existence are static museum pieces. The ship has retained its adherents and followers however, so in 3304 Falcon de Lacy decided to cash in on that goodwill and revive the name and a good part of the concept. The Krait Mk II is only superficially related to its older sibling. Part of the Krait Lightspeeder's allure was its clean arrowhead shape, and Falcon de Lacy wished to retain this aspect. Today's Mk II is a much larger ship, similar in size to the Python. The Krait Lightspeeder had a reputation for speed and manoeuvrability, and DeLacy have worked hard to carry this over into the new model despite the increase in size. A superficial comparison of the Krait Mk II's internals with those of the Python certainly has promoted the idea that the new Krait is basically a faster, better Python. Things are rarely quite that simple though. One thing is certain, the Krait Mk II has proven a massive hit for Falk and DeLacy. On its official launch date, the exclusive Pilots Federation station Jameson Memorial in Shinrata Desra reported that every single medium pad had a brand new Krait Mk II parked on it, and commanders were lining up to get their hands on one. The station reported that it had not seen such a buying frenzy for a new ship design in decades, and it had handily beaten even the excitement around the launch of the Lakon tank series, the Alliance, Challenger, Crusader and Chieftain. Combat. Part of the reason people see the Krait Mk II succeeding the Python is because a glance over the hardpoints and internals of both ships reveals that they share 3 large and 2 medium hardpoints, as well as 4 utility mounts. Both can mount a Class 6 shield, both have a Class 7 power distributor, and both have a Class 7 power plant. They even use the same size frameshift drives. Look a bit deeper though and differences emerge. You'll find that the Krait Mk II can also take a ship launched fighter SLF, a capacity the Python lacks. However, the Python has slightly stronger shield coverage. Basic unengineered 6A shields give the Python 398 megajoules of shielding versus the Krait's 350. As you start to add boosters and engineer the shields, the Python retains its advantage in shield strength. For example, engineering that brings the Python up to 1.75 GJ of absolute shielding brings the Krait up to only 1.53 GJ. The Python also wins on hull too. The basic military grade composite upgrade will give a Python an absolute hull strength of 910, but the Krait only 770. The Python comes out on top in terms of protection then. However, the Krait makes up over the Python when you consider the active side of combat: damage per second, DPS, speed and manoeuvrability. Like the Krait Lightspeeder of the past, the Mk II is quick and has good pitch and roll rates, and, with some engineering visits, can boost indefinitely with just 1 pip to engines, even with grade 5 dirty drag drive modifications to the thrusters. Being able to keep the power distribution focused on weapons or systems and not worry too much about engines gives the Krait a huge advantage over its older stablemate. When it comes to speed, a typical combat loadout for the Python will boost to 488 meters per second, but the Krait will sail on past at 541 meters per second with the same level of engineering. The better manoeuvrability, speed and boost ability of the Krait will also make fixed weapons a practical proposition. In the hands of a capable combat pilot, the extra damage per second of fixed weapons and their immunity to chaff is highly desirable. Then comes the coup de grace, the Krait's fighter bay. A ship launched fighter in the hands of a good pilot is like having an additional Class 4 huge hardpoint that flies. For instance, the Class 4 beam laser has, off the shelf, a DPS of 41.4. When thinking purely about tech and capability, the fixed beam Imperial Gelid F fighter has a DPS of 45. It is essentially an absurdly manoeuvrable gun that flies independently of the mothership. Of course, there's also the cost of the pilot to consider. Thanks to the SLF, the extra speed and manoeuvrability and the practicality of the use of fixed weapons, the Krait Mk II is a clear winner against the Python, despite the Python's greater defensive capabilities. Making money. The Python has always been seen foremost as a trade ship which can defend itself, whereas the old Krait Lightspeeder was first and foremost a fighter with little capacity for anything else. The new Krait Mk II, however, could make a perfectly viable trader, but is it a challenger to the Python in this respect? If we take a look at the basic stats for both ships, The Python has the following internals available for trade, mission or passenger activities: 3 Class 6, 2 Class 5, 1 Class 4, 2 Class 3 and 1 Class 2. The Krait Mk II by contrast has one fewer Class 6 internal module bay. This doesn't sound like much of a difference, but if you fill both ships with cargo racks and stick with a Class 6 shield, the Python will carry 228 tonnes versus the Krait's 164 tonnes. Put like that, it's a significant difference. A Krait aficionado might remind you that for mission work you're often not filling the cargo hold to the brim, so perhaps the advantage isn't all it seems. This may be so, but an extra slot is also extra flexibility. The Python can carry the largest available passenger cabin, Class 6, while carrying as much cargo as a Krait equipped with only cargo holds and a shield. Consider the commander whose job it is to see to it that as many contracts as possible are fulfilled in the Niet system. The nearest outpost in that system is some 16,000 light seconds from the primary star, so it's a long drag out there, and a visiting pilot needs to maximise the number of jobs taken at once. There's no shipyard at any of the outposts, so you can't have other ships brought along to do specialist jobs. The ship you take has to be able to do everything. You can equip a Python to be able to carry passengers, carry cargo and do many types of combat mission all at the same time, although this writer would suggest you don't begin the combat jobs until after your cargo and passengers have been dropped off. You can maximise the list of jobs you can take from the far off outposts and minimise time transiting back and forth to them. With the Krait however, you will have to sacrifice one of these abilities. If you arrive at the outpost and find you've sacrificed the wrong ability, well, it's been a long trip out for nothing. The clear winner here is the Python. It remains the undisputed king of mission runners, and not just against the Krait. There's not another ship in service that matches the Python's flexibility for being able to simultaneously take a wide variety of missions to all destinations. Exploration. The old Krait Lightspeeder was a flawed exploration ship with its optional long range aerial pylon mounts on the wings. The designers clearly didn't consider that their pilot might need more modules and carry space than the small ship could cope with. When considering exploration loadouts, the Krait Mk II just wins on range over the Python, but the Python with its extra Class 6 slot wins on flexibility and survivability. Applying a typical long duration exploration build to both ships, Class 4 shields, surface reconnaissance vehicle hangar, hull repair limpet controller and auto field maintenance unit with a range engineered A-rated FSD will give a maximum jump range of 48.6 light years for the Python and 51.2 for the Krait Mk II. So the Krait's edge in jump range is slight. The extra Class 6 slot that the Python has means it has everything it needs for long duration exploring, as well as the ability to fuel wrap, making it the better fleet exploration ship. A common error that pilots make is to think exploration is just about maximising jump range. This error tends to be exposed during the first unintended litho-braking incident, or when mistakes are made on high G planets, or worse still, if you are unlucky enough to meet what is colloquially known as a murder hobo. The extra shield and hull strength of the Python may mean the unfortunate pilot only has to change their flight suit, whereas the Krait's commander might have to endure the Remlock ride of shame back to populated space, as well as the inevitable loss of exploration data. All things considered, the Python just about has the edge on long duration exploration, but for shorter duration trips either ship will serve. You'll get a better view from the cockpit of a Krait and it's more fun to fly. A new menace. We can't leave this topic without talking about the Krait Phantom, DeLacy's newest variant of the ship. The Krait Phantom is inferior to the Python in all respects except for one: exploration. This isn't surprising, as the Phantom was explicitly designed as a more lightweight variant of the Mark II. It has the same number of module slots as the Krait Mk II, but the slots are smaller, only one Class 6 instead of 2, and one of the Class 4 slots is replaced by a Class 3. The decrease in mass manifests as a significantly increased jump range. Using a comparable long duration exploration build, the Phantom will jump 57 light years, a significant increase over both the Python and the Krait Mk II. However, many would argue that the Krait Phantom is more meaningfully compared to Lacon's venerable Asp Explorer than the Python, even if it's not quite in the same price bracket. It's notable that all of these ships use the same size modules, notably the Class 5 frameshift drive. So if you've spent time engineering a Python for exploration, find you don't like it and would prefer the Krait Mk II or the Krait Phantom, your efforts spent getting the engineering done have not gone to waste. And the winner is, at least in the mind of this writer, the Krait Mk II has most certainly not made the Python obsolete. While the Krait is a much better combat ship, the Python's real strength lies in its flexibility as a mission runner, and this is the real reason people still buy this venerable design today. The Krait, for all its strengths, can't quite pull this job off nearly as well as the Python. As such, the Python can expect to enjoy a production run of many more years to come. If anything, the launch of the Krait has highlighted the Python's excellent flexibility. The Krait Mk II, rather than being a Python successor, stands in its own right as a very competent combat machine which can be refitted for other roles too. This is evident in Thargoid conflict systems, in which many Pilot Federation members are choosing the Krait Mk II as their weapon of choice. And by the way, it turns out we have all been pronouncing Krait incorrectly all along. The snake's name should be pronounced to rhyme with kite, not crate. However, were this distinction observed, we would have been deprived of nearly a year of puns, a privation this publication could not countenance.